This is the face of strength and inspiration, the face of a visionary leader at the early age of 20, whose efforts to fight his own battle with cancer became a cause to find a cure for others. And it all began when James Reagan was a 13-year-old student here at Baker Middle School.
For James, it was more about he had cancer. None of his friends really knew what cancer was. Maybe a few had lost a grandparent, an aunt or uncle, or a loved one. But nobody really knew what cancer was, much less that children could actually get it. And so I think in the beginning it was more about trying to educate people.
That effort to spread awareness soon became more than anyone could have imagined.
His chemo had gone well, and he was going to turn 14. And my parents said, James, let's have a birthday party for you. Let's do something. You've beaten cancer, right? It was a really big deal. We were watching Animal House, and we got to the scene where they had the toga party. And of course, he says, Mom, Dad, that's what I want. I want a toga party. Let's do it. We can make it a fundraiser. It doesn't have to be my birthday. We'll make it about cancer.
Instead of birthday gifts, James asked for donations to Driscoll Children's Hospital. And later, when his cancer came back, the fundraising continued. James soon became the founder of what is now an internationally known organization.
That's part of the reason why Triumph Over Kid Cancer was able to even become a foundation, and why we've continued to do so well over the last few years. And it's this Corpus Christi community that always helped us and honored James and wanted to do more. James drew a lot of his strength from them and from their support and their prayers and their kindness.
We all have a spirit, and James had one that was infectious, to say the least. And he had an uncanny ability of really crossing all spectrums, both age. He influenced those older and those younger. He had a way of doing it across socioeconomic lines. Didn't matter where you came from, where you were, where your status in life was, or where you might find yourself. Our mission through Triumph Over Kid Cancer is to try and keep that spirit moving forward.
Unfortunately, pediatric cancer is just so underfunded because it's from a business standpoint, pharmaceutical companies don't see funding drugs for pediatric cancers as profitable because there are so few cases. All of the kids that I know that have pediatric cancer they're bright, intelligent young men and women who, like James, do their best in the face of great odds. And it is unfortunate that a lot of the time the deck is stacked against them. If we could save these kids, imagine how much bigger and better our world here would be.
The foundation continues its mission through fundraising, including events taking place in CCISD schools every year, where our students are handing over checks to Triumph Over Kid Cancer. And this September, the foundation will host a citywide event so that everyone can participate.
The Giddy Up race that we're going to have on September 6th, really drawn, it covers all the spectrums. There's a 1K walk, a 5K run, and a 10K run. So really people of all levels and all fitness levels can participate, with the funds being raised going towards our mission towards genomic research and sequencing project, the GRASP program through MD Anderson. The beauty of that is every dollar we raise through that initiative gets matched by MD Anderson. So if we can raise 25, 30, 50, 100,000, that turns into 200,000. And that's huge for us and for cancer and pediatric cancer as we direct more dollars towards trying to find a cure.
Even with all the success for the foundation, board members say they still have plenty of work to do, because they remember one young man who would keep moving forward no matter what obstacles were in his way.
He could be having the worst day of his week, and he was still going to get up and get out of bed and hopefully go to the golf course, even if he only lasted for 20 minutes. He really did his best to make the most of his moments.
The thing he had was a very unique perspective, because we would always, as older golfers, complain of a sore back or a stiff leg or something. And if you would go down a path of maybe whining a little bit, we call it that, or a little bit over complaining, James always had a quick response. I'd say, man, my back really hurts today and my arm's stiff, and can't believe I feel bad. He'd look at you and say, hey, it's not cancer.
So since I've been at MD Anderson, I try to never refuse to help someone and always try to go out of my way to find someone to help. One of the bad things about pediatric cancer is that as kids get close to dying, people don't come and visit them anymore. I think it's one of those things that people are uncomfortable with, so they avoid it. So when I learned that a friend of mine, who had been at MD Anderson for nearly as long as I had, was dying, and people weren't coming to visit her anymore, I immediately took some time off to go and to be with her. It was overwhelming just to see how happy it made my friend Jana to have some company, to have someone to talk to about Steve Carell in the office and tennis and other things not related to cancer, just teenage stuff. We even planned out her Make-A-Wish trip. She wanted to go to Bora Bora. And I remember we had fun planning the hotels she would stay in and the things that she would do while she was on her trip, even though we both knew she would never be able to take that trip. And afterwards, I understood why people don't like being around a young person who's dying. There's just something horrible about children dying. But I can also tell you that no matter what the cost is to you personally, there is no greater feeling than helping someone who's in a bad situation who has no one else to turn to. So I recommend that as you live your life, you take time out of each week to go out of your way to do something nice for someone who's in a worse situation than you are. I can promise you, you will be stronger, more energetic, more positive, and happier throughout your life if you do that one thing. Thank you very much, everybody.